so people can unmute themselves if they want. And oops, let me do that again. So a couple of real quick things. Our meeting next month, 1st of October, will be with Gary Rosenzweig, who's going to walk us through the latest version of the Mac OS, which is going to be cool. And then the meeting on the first Wednesday in November is going to be an organization that specifically does home inventory stuff. So for either insurance or wills and stuff like that, or just tracking, you know, how much you got with books and records and stuff like that. This is really cool. So I said, yeah, let's do that. We don't have anything set yet for December, but we're working on it. And so if you see stuff, you go, hey, I'd like to have blah, blah, blah. I am the most unshy person you will ever meet. I'll ask anybody. And we have actually gotten quite a few very, very good marquee speakers from around the country and in fact around the world. When someone says, hey, I'd like to do blah, 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 which quite frankly is kind of how we got Jon Hartman. Just, hey, this guy's a nationally recognized presenter. Would he be willing to present to us? And he said, sure. And I said, cool. So we can find speakers of this caliber. Yay. So if you're interested, ping me. You do not have to write the request on a piece of paper clip it to $1,000 bill, mail it to me. If you want to do that, that's very effective. Gets my attention. But you don't have to do that. Just ping, hey, Russ, I'd like to see something about blah, 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 and see what we can do. And okay, I see Barbara's here, so I'm gonna see if we can get. I'm trying to get Barbara to unmute.
Barbara's here with me.
That's interesting. Hey, Barbara.
Hello. Yes, if you ever, any folks out there need some wonderful contractors who will come up with the best ideas reasonably, they research, they get good product for you at really good prices. This is not a place that's good. They're not going to blow everything. They're beautiful. You want to get Gregor Hamilton and his wife, Linda, to assist you. Any remodeling in your apartment, you need assistance picking furniture, use them. They're wonderful. And they're good friends from the user group. And they're just so smart and capable. They've been doing this for years. It's unbelievable. So if you need, these are local people, and that's, I'm going to put a plug in for the Hamiltons.
Where are they? Chicago?
In Chicago. They go between Chicago and Florida, but they're here often. They've got properties in both, and they're just a wonderful couple. Gregor is the mechanical, technical, handle all the tools kind of thing. His wife is the designer, and she is incredible. Just an eye for color and style and everything, but an eye to your budget as well, which is very important.
Right.
Did I say that correctly, Gregor?
Sounded good to me.
And how would people get in touch with you if they wanted to?
Well, they could go to gregorlsh@earthlink.net.
Okay.
Gregor is spelled Gregor.
I can't spell it. At
Earthlink, old fashioned. Earthlink.
that's the planet. That's the planet I usually link with.
It is.
Yes. So I think I just put it in chat. gregorlsh@earthlink.net.
You got it.
Okay. And I will also just real quickly vouch for the same thing that Barbara just said. Years ago, I ran the AppleWorks special interest group, and Gregor and Linda were in there. And while I could explain the various pieces, I'll completely, totally agree. Their sense of style just blew me out of the water. It was like, this is so impressive. So,
Marvelous.
so
Thank you.
Absolutely marvelous.
So want to get started. Again, my name is Russ. I am the president. Barbara kind of helps us run all this. So,
Hello.
so if there's anything you would like to see, hear, have contact with, you can send me a note, send Barbara a note. I'm the least shy person you'll ever meet. I will contact anybody and ask them in.
Yes, too.
And I do.
Yes.
which, for example, is how we got John. Say, can we get a nationally recognized Apple trainer to speak to us? And he said, I'll do it twice. Cool. I like this guy. He's really, really, really good. Our meeting next month is going to be on the latest version of the Mac OS. November is going to be home cataloging software. Blah, I can't speak. And then we're looking for ideas for December and then next year.
Is it possible to see the video that John did last month on YouTube or some way to see that?
Let me
Or
look.
was it just live?
Let me see if I recorded it. I do not remember, but this is being
That
recorded.
one was recorded.
Oh, you recorded it?
No, I don't think that one was recorded.
Oh, okay, okay. This one is being recorded. Because I think at the end I went, oh, nuts, you know. Actually, I said something much worse than that. And so yeah, this one is being recorded, and I'll post that in the chat. And just real quick, it is to your advantage to have the chat open. We're going to be doing a special giveaway at the end, which I think you're going to like. And I will turn it over to John in just a second, except to say that he has been like phenomenally good to work with.
Right.
So much so that, you know, right now in front of everybody, I'm saying, John, we're having you back, okay? Because he is really, really good. And it makes sense to me what he does. He helps me out a lot and helps out a lot of other people. And there's an obvious reason why, you know, his reputation is as good as it is. It's very, very well deserved. And I asked him to speak about the iPhone because, quite frankly, I know next to nothing. And he has all kinds of classes he does. So he said, I'll do two parts. One part kind of basic, getting your feet on the ground, and then the other one for like more professionals. And we have a lot of people who use their iPhone as part of their business. So does John. I do not. And I said, yeah, let's touch that. Let's do that. And he said, sure, we can definitely do that. So, John, I am making you co-host. You get a thing to be co-host any second now. Does that work?
Yes, I should be co-host. Let me see here.
I got a little blurb that said so.
Okay.
Awesome.
All right.
Okay.
Yes, I can see your screen. Looks like
Great.
Take it over. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, first of all, thank you, Russ. Thank you, Barbara, for such a
Hello,
wonderful
hi.
invitation. I can't believe what a great reception I'm getting here. And thank you also to the Chicago Apple User Group for having me here. I hope that I'm able to get your learn on today. My goal is to do two things with this class. So first of all, before we go anywhere, let me just tell you one little bit about me. I've been working with Apple products for over 2 decades. I worked at the Apple retail store for 10 years. I worked my way up from a part-time specialist to the head of the family room, meaning I was teaching the trainers and helping out the geniuses. So I've had a lot of experience on the front line dealing with every type of person you could imagine, with every type of skill set, education level, experience level, and fear level. So I know what you're going through right now. And my goal today is to really kind of work with all aspects of everyone that might be on this call. So my goal is to start with some basics, but then I want to get into how the iPhone has actually helped me run my business for the last 8 years. And so first and foremost, I have my contact information right on the screen here. So I'd like you to do a screenshot so that if you need to get in touch with me, you can. And you just hold Shift and Command, you tap the number 3, that will do a screenshot that will allow you to keep my information. Obviously, I can put this in the chat at the end as well, which I will try to do while we're doing Q&A. I'm planning on speaking for about 45 minutes, 50 minutes, and then I'm going to open it up for some questions at the end, see how much time we have, see what we can get through. So the goal of today is actually to talk about iPhone. So let me go ahead and let me see if I can get my iPhone sharing here. Give me 1 second, and hopefully my network connection doesn't give me grief today. I think we'll be all right, but let's make sure. And hopefully everyone can see my iPhone screen now. Let me get rid of this, cancel that, and then quit pages. Or actually, let's just have pages. Okay. So that's actually a pretty cool feature on Zoom. I don't know if you knew you could do that, but you can share your iPad and your iPhone screen through Zoom. This makes it very easy for me to help you.
Mhm.
If I need to support your phone, I can actually see your screen or your iPad and be able to help you out with any issues, setup, or training that you might need. So the first thing that I want to talk about are the basics. And this is what I call the 5 essential skills of iPhone. And if you don't know all 5 of these, you're really doing yourself a disjustice because you're not using the device as you should or in the best possible way for maximum efficiency, right? Remember, technology should always be effective and efficient. It shouldn't take away from our time. It should add to our time in life. All right, so the first things first, searching. We go to find something on the iPhone, and guess what? We can't find it because we're going to all these different screens and we just can't seem to get to what we need to do. So the first things first is we're going to do the search. Now, you can see my screen over here, but look at my view over here. You're going to swipe down from just the center of the screen just a little bit, like a quarter of an inch, half an inch, and this is going to get you to your search. And you'll see that there are some Siri suggestions right there. These are apps you've typically used at this time in the past, or maybe things that you've used recently. So it's trying to help you to get maybe back to that stuff. But notice at the very top is the search bar. I can type in, let's say, John, and I could get right to the contact, Jonathan Walper, that I was trying to get to. Or scrolling down, you'll notice that all of the information there is sorted by the app or the type of data that's there. So it makes it very easy to get to whatever you're looking for. If it's a note, scroll down to notes. If you can't find it, you can always go down to the very bottom and then search the web or search the app store or search maps. So you can see everything down at the very bottom here allows you to search additional places to get better, more filtered results, giving you the data that you need. Once again, let me just do that from the beginning. We're swiping down from just the middle, anywhere in the middle, not off the screen, in the middle, slightly down, that is search. You can think of it as Siri in a typing way, right? Instead of saying things, you're going to type it in, and then you're going to get to the results that you want. That's a pretty basic one, but very important one. And we don't want to forget that because finding things on the iPhone is the most important thing we need to do to get to the information that we need to ultimately get done what we want to get done. So that's the first one, search. The next one I want to go on to is notifications. Because when your phone is constantly bleeping and blooping and doing all these things and popping up things and it becomes a distraction, meaning it's starting to take away from your time, that's when notifications becomes something that we don't want. So we need to manage our notifications in the best way for what we want to actually be notified about. Now, to get to notifications, and I'm talking on the newest phone here. So if you have a phone that has a home button or a physical circle at the bottom that you press into, it's a little bit different, but a lot of those same rules apply, but you might have to get to it in a little bit of a different way. But let me just start and focus on the one without the home button. And what we're going to do is we're going to start in the upper left-hand corner. And we're going to swipe from off the screen. Look, I'm actually on the case, swiping into the screen. And that takes me to what we call Notification Center. This is a culmination of all the notifications you've received from every app since you've deleted them. And so this is a great way to go in. And let's say in the morning, when you wake up, you go to Notification Center, you can see everything that's transpired, every app that's had something happen to it that needs to notify you about it. It's all in one place. And again, it's called the Notifications Center. Now, if I want to purge everything in the Notification Center, notice the X right below that moon, which I'll talk about in a moment, or that X right below the moon. If I tap and hold on that, you'll see I get clear all notifications. And I just tap on that, and then boom, I'm back to square zero in terms of I've recognized all the notifications. Anything I see there in that section now is new. Now, we want to be able to choose what notifications that we want as well. So how we're going to do that is we're going to go into the phone and we're going to find settings. Now I could do a search, swipe down, type in SETT, and look what comes up. It's that silver gear, the settings. I'm going to tap on that one. And you'll notice right in the middle of the screen, the red button that says notifications. We want to tap on that one. So let's go ahead and tap on that. And then here's where you got to get a little bit busy, because every single one of these that you see listed here has its own set of notifications. And you need to make sure that every single one of these is set the way that you want, because otherwise you're either not going to get the notifications you want, or you're going to get notifications you don't want. Let's just go through one very simply. Let's say I go to my calendar. So I tap on calendar. Now remember, you want to do this for every single app that's in that list. The first things first, do you want to be notified by this? It might be a video game you downloaded like Solitaire, but you don't want to get information or notifications. So you might want to turn it off. That's the green button right there. So hitting the green button turns off all the notifications. The calendar obviously is a pretty important one. So I'm going to turn that one back on. And you can see I can choose based on upcoming events, invitations, invitee responses, shared calendars. Each one of these is ones that you probably want to go through. And when you tap on one of them, you'll notice these are the three things we need to choose. We need to choose how the banner style is going to be. So I know you all have seen that kind of banner pop up on the phone. Sometimes it stays there, sometimes it doesn't. Well, that's the alert that we see there. The banner style right there. If we want it on the lock screen, meaning we want it to show before we even unlock the phone, keep in mind, there might be a text message that can show up, and I might pick up your phone and be able to see the text message. Maybe you don't want text messages on the lock screen, meaning before they can get into the phone. You might want it in Notification Center, or you might want it as a banner, meaning when you're using the phone, it pops up. And then again, the banner style is going to choose whether it's temporary or persistent. Here's an example. Temporary might be you have a CNN notification and you want it just to pop up, but you don't want to have to interact with it. So that CNN notification is going to pop up. It's going to stay there for 1 second and then it's going to go away. Versus, let's say, a calendar event. You need to be somewhere and you don't want that notification to come up and then go away before you saw it. So you might want a calendar invitation to be persistent so that it stays there all the time until you interact with it. Meaning you've seen it, you've chosen what to do, you then get rid of that banner itself. Do you want it to play a sound? So if you check out sounds, you can have a particular sound for a particular app in a notification. Badges are the red circles that show up on the individual apps when you have a new notification. And whether you want to show it in CarPlay. So if you plug your phone into your car and you have your dashboard with CarPlay, again, do you want that to be a part of that system? You might not want your text messages to show up in your car. You might not want the game to show up in your car, or you might. These are all personal preferences that you just need to kind of go through and choose. But remember, I want to make it very clear that every single one of these apps has a different method of notifying you about that app. And you need to go into each of them to make sure that it's actually doing what you want it to do. All right, so that's notifications. Very important. Don't have this be a tool of distraction. Once again, we don't want it to constantly, I mean, how many times have you picked up the phone? You want to do something very specific, and then you pick up the phone and all of a sudden it's 25 minutes later and you haven't even done the thing you picked up the phone to do because you got distracted by something else. This is where it gets important in business, because you don't want to have the distractions on the phone for business. And I'm going to get to that in a little bit. All right, the next one that's important that I use all the time is called Control Center. And this one is also a swipe, but instead of coming down from the top left, we're going to come down from the top right. Again, off the screen, into the screen, and now we have what's called Control Center. Essentially, this is your settings filtered down, giving you the ones that you use the most with a one swipe action. So meaning you wanted to play the song. Well, guess what? Your music is right there in the top left right hand corner there. It's not playing anything now, but that's how you can control your music on the fly. Just one swipe down, hit play or hit the next song, or you can even tap into that app to bring it into the music application to choose different music. So again, it just gives you that one swipe access to get to that app or control that with a single tap. You'll see in the upper left-hand corner, we have our communications. So there's the airplane, that is airplane mode. It turns your Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, cellular on or off at one time. The gist of this is you get on the airplane and you want to turn off your cellular so you don't interfere with the airplane. That makes it really easy. Again, one swipe down, you can tap on any of those to turn them on and off. You can also do a hard tap and get into a sub menu that gives you even more choices rather than having to go to the home screen, find settings, then find Bluetooth, get into Bluetooth, and then find your other settings. So again, this just provides easy ways to get to some of the things that you use a lot. We see the orientation lock. That's the one right below the Wi-Fi symbol that you see there. And that one, it allows us to basically lock the orientation. When you do it this way and you change it to this way, most apps will actually switch so that it goes to landscape versus portrait. But if you're in bed and reading an article and you don't want to have to, go like this to read, you might turn on the orientation lock so that it locks it in place so that you can have the correct orientation for what you're trying to do in that particular app. You'll see the moon is the next one over. That one is called Do Not Disturb. You'll see mine is on right now because I don't want my phone to ring during this class. Think of it like hanging the Do Not Disturb on your hotel door, right? Nobody's going to come knocking. It's not that you can't use the room. It's not that you're not going to get your emails. It's not you're going to get your text. You're just not going to be notified of it until you turn that off or go to the app manually. You'll see next to that, we have our brightness control. We have our volume control, the one that says Apple TV, because right now I'm actually beaming over to the Apple TV. Where it says Zoom, John's iMac, that is me using the screen mirroring function to beam what's on my phone to the computer via Zoom. And you can do this to the Apple TV. You can do this to any other AirPlay enabled devices like speakers that have AirPlay, printers that have AirPrint. That's a wonderful feature. And the more Apple devices you have, the better it works and the more powerful it becomes. We can see the flashlight. We can see the alarm, the timer. We can see the stopwatch, the calculator. The next one over is the Apple TV remote. So if you have an Apple TV, you can actually use your phone as the controller for your Apple TV. A quick link to the camera, quick link to the battery to make it optimized or not. We have a zoom button right there to make text bigger. So if you needed to just make that text bigger just for that one app, again, having it in a control center gives you a one swipe method, make it bigger, see the app, and then you can always make it smaller if need be. The next one over is screen recording. So if you ever needed to record your screen, for instance, let's say something was going wrong with the phone, you could record your screen and send me a video of what's going wrong, and I could actually see what's happening in the process during that video, which is kind of cool. Great for support. It's also great if you need to help other people with something. Oh, turn the screen record on. Here's what you do. You click on this button, you then slide down, you go to this button, and then as soon as it's done, it creates a video in your photos, and you can simply just send that to anybody else. The next one over is home, which is the Internet of Things. If you have locks that are internet connected, if you have Philips Hue bulbs that are connected, you can basically control everything with your phone. And usually it's done through the Home app that integrates everything together. All your locks, all your doors, all your alarms, your security cameras, all can be in with that one app called Home. And you have one central place to control it all. And then the other one used to be Shazam. It's called the music recognition app. And it allows me to hit that button and whatever music is playing, whatever the iPhone can hear, it'll actually tell me the name of the song, just like Shazam used to do. It'll tell me the artist, the album, and even give me a one-click link to iTunes in order to purchase it. Now, those are all really cool, but the coolest part is there's more and you can customize it. So let's just see that really quickly. If I go to settings one more time, and I showed you how to do that earlier, so I'm just going to go there real quick. If I scroll down just a little bit, you'll see Control Center right there in the middle. And if I tap on Control Center, you'll see that here are all the ones that are red are currently in my Control Center. And then if I scroll down, all the ones in green are not currently in Control Center. So you can customize which ones you want or don't want very easily. Again, settings, Control Center, and then you just pick and choose what you want. If it's not in there, click the green plus. If it is in there and you don't want it, click the red minus. If you want to reorder them, use the hamburger. So the hamburger is the 2 pieces of bread with the meat inside. It's right on the left-hand or right-hand side. You see that? And I can use that to actually move these around. So I'm using the hamburger on the side, and I can actually order how I want it to show up in the Control Center. Again, all of this is just creating a system for you of organization so that it makes it super easy for you to find these functions that you use all the time very quickly. I use Control Center almost every time I pick up the phone. And that's one that I would say is really cool, really important. And if you customize it right, it's so easy. I mean, the flashlight, the camera, the timer, all those, the calculator. I mean, all of those are so easy to get to, knowing that you could just do one swipe down and they're right there for you. So that's Control Center. All right, the next one is Siri. And I know, everyone's saying, oh, Siri this, Siri that. She got a bad rap to begin with, and maybe for good cause. But I'll tell you, Siri has really improved, and especially with the latest iteration of the iOS, or the operating system for the phone and the iPad. She's gotten really smart. She can do a lot more things. But like any lady, you got to talk to the lady in the way that they like to be talked to, right? I mean, if you're a guy, if you talk to the lady in the wrong way, you're just not going to get the answers that you want. So let's talk about how we talk to Siri. And the easiest way to do this is ask her what she can do. Hey, Siri, what can you do?
I'm here to help. Get to know Siri at apple.com.
So we tap on that, and it takes us right to apple.com. And look at this. What can you ask? Well, if you scroll down, here's a list of everything that you can ask and the verbiage that you use to ask for that specific command. So yes, it is a language. You need to learn the right words. And as soon as you learn the right words, Siri is going to be amazing for you. So for an instance, if you wanted to send a text, I would always use the word tell. So if you say the words, hey, and I'm not going to do that because all my stuff's going to light up if I do that. But if you say, hey, tell Julie what's up, it's going to know that you want to send a text message to Julie. If you say send a message, that's another group of words that allows Siri to know that you want to send a text. Things like maps. One I use all the time, especially for business, is directions home. So you simply tell Siri, hey, directions home. And immediately she's going to know where you are based on GPS. Hopefully you've assigned your contact card, which I'm going to show hopefully in a minute here. You've signed the contact card, your card, and you've applied your address in your card, because that's how Siri knows who you are and where you live. And then immediately you'll get driving directions, walking directions, biking directions home, and you'll know what traffic is around, how long it's going to take you. And then you can even share your ETA, which is super cool. When you're going to a client, maybe you're 5 minutes late, you can get, hey, Siri, directions to this. And, to this customer. And then you can actually share your ETA with the client that you're going to, so they know exactly when you're going to be there. Sends them a little text message, and then they know and can almost track you until you get there to know when you're going to get there. So really great for knowing or letting customers, clients know if you're going to be late, or even mom, or even the person that's picking you up at the airport, or the person you're picking up from the airport. Very cool. There are a ton of these. Read through this menu. Again, how did I get there? You simply ask Siri what she can do. Hey Siri, what can you do?
I'm here to help. Get to know Siri at apple.com.
Tap on the top. And again, this is the website where you can say, what can I ask Siri to do? And I would go through here. Really awesome. You can even ask Siri, like, where's my iPhone? Which is really cool, especially if you have things like a HomePod or an app, another device. You simply ask Siri, where's my iPhone? And it will ping it for you so you can find it, even if it's in the couch. So cool. I just love that stuff. Love that stuff.
How can you find Siri on your device? I think mine's turned off.
So you would want to go to settings and go to Siri and make sure it's on. So under settings,
Got you, found it. Thank you.
you got it? Okay, great. Thank you. Perfect. Okay, great. So we've gone through search. We've gone through notifications. Again, search is swiping down from the middle. Notifications is swiping down from the top left. Control center is swiping down from the top right. And now we want to get into what's called the multitasking window. This is the fifth and last of what I would call the essential skills of using iPhone. And that is the multitasking window. So the multitasking window is used for two purposes. The first is to easily switch back and forth between apps that you've been using. So if I swipe up from the bottom into the center and then release, you'll see that I can see a cascading or a tiling of the apps that I've been using. And as I scroll through here, you'll see these are my open apps. Much like you'll find on the computer. If you use a Mac computer and do Command Tab, it's the same thing. For those people on the Mac who are familiar with that, it's simply a way to see all of your open applications and easily be able to swipe, find the one that you want, tap on it, and now you're in that app. So now I'm in Safari, but wait a second, I wanted to get to settings. No problem, swipe up halfway, release, and then right there in the top, you can see settings right in the top. I just lost it there, hold on. You can see settings right in the top. So I tap on settings, and guess what? I'm now, oops, I'm sorry, I hit the wrong button, but now I'm in settings. Real great way to easily switch back and forth, especially if you're going back and forth between two different apps and go and try and use them both at the same time. Once again, swipe up halfway, find the app, tap on it, swipe up halfway. Notice the previous app is now in the center. So again, it makes it real easy to go to whatever app that you want. Now, I told you there were two reasons why we use the multitasking app. I've gone through the first, which is to easily switch between these two apps. But the multitasking window is also used for a very important part too, and this is part of care and feeding for your iPhone. Now, if you don't know this, you need to know this, and that is everything that has a power button, you need to use the power button. If it can be turned off, you should turn it off at some point. And this is especially true with devices that can copy data. This is very essential. And it's not just shutting it down with the iPhone. On the computer, you can definitely, oh no, sorry, I hit that. On the computer, you can definitely just go to the Apple and click shut down, because on the Mac computer, it will quit all your applications for you, then shut down the machine. iOS devices like iPads and iPhones, and by the way, everything I'm talking about right now with the iPhone applies to the iPad also. They run the same exact software, and the iPad just happens to be a bigger screen, and the phone just happens to make cellular calls. So, but they're the same exact functional device in terms of the software. So the gist is, iOS devices like iPhones and iPads, when you power them down, they do not quit out of the application. And what is important about this is if there's an application that's having an issue, Restarting the phone actually will not resolve that. It will not fix the issue. So when you power down an iPhone, you need to ensure that you get out of the apps first. That's very important. All right, sorry about that. I was getting a little feedback there. It's very important that you quit out of the apps first before you power it down. So here is my suggestion to everybody, and this is a habit I got into and everyone should get into. Every 2 to 3 days, you should quit out of the apps on your iPhone and your iPad, power down the device, and then you could just power it right back on. So what does that look like? Once again, go to the multitasking window. We go halfway up. And then to quit out of the apps, we're going to swipe up to quit out of the app. So right from the center of the screen, we swipe up, and we do this until there are no more screens, and we go right back to the home screen. Now I power down the phone. What does that look like? Well, I'm going to hold the sleep button on this side, and I'm going to hold the volume up button together until I see that window right there giving me the slide to power off function. I can slide to power off. You'll see a little spinning wheel in the center. Wait till that goes away. And then as soon as that goes away, you can power it right back on by holding the sleep button on the side. You might have to hold it for about 8 seconds until you see the Apple logo come up. You should do that every 2 to 3 days. It's very important. It is vital to keep the functioning of the phone, keep all the apps working properly. It will actually help the battery out in the long run. So it is a very, very good thing to do. All right.
What if you have the home button? How do you access the multiple apps that are open?
So if you have one that has a home button, you're going to double
Yes.
tap. You're going to double tap the home button. So tap on the home button. That should get you into the multitasking window.
Brilliant. Did it. Thank you.
Wonderful. Okay, team. So the next thing that I want to talk about here and is the business aspect. So I want to start getting into the business aspect of how my iPhone has helped me with my business over the past 8 years. Well, the first things first, my iPhone is like a mullet. Party business in the front, party in the back. When you open up your iPhone, there shouldn't be a game on there. There shouldn't be anything that takes away from you doing your business. That was one thing I learned early. Don't have your games on there. Don't have anything that's distracting. If you own your own business and you want to get things done, only have the important stuff on the front. So the important stuff for me, the calendar. If you have not mastered your calendar, you have not mastered your business or your life for that matter. Always put the personal stuff first in the calendar, but make sure that the business stuff gets in there too. But you have to master the calendar. And what I would suggest too is you need to make sure to put the addresses into your events. If you put the addresses into your events, your phone can actually bring up a message when it's time to leave to get to your appointment on time, meaning you don't even have to set a time to leave or think about it. And if there's an accident, guess what? Siri will pop up a message and it's going to say, hey, it's going to take you 25 minutes to get to Julie, your next appointment. You should leave now. And usually maybe it's only 5 minutes to get there, but now there's an accident. So it knows where you need to go because you put the location into the event. It knows where you are based on GPS. And it's also looking at the traffic that's going to happen in between where you need to go. That has saved my butt a lot. I'll tell you, it has saved me a lot of times being late. And one thing I do not like to be is late. One thing I respect, especially in business, is everybody's time. You got to be on time. If you're 5 minutes, if you're 1 minute late, if you're 1 minute late, you're 5 minutes late, in my opinion. And if you're not early, you're late. So that's my opinion of that. But I will say that putting that in there, putting the locations into the dates is one of the things that as a habit of mine has saved me a lot. And it ensures that I get there on time and I respect people's time. So in the calendar, make sure to do that. That is a wonderful, wonderful tidbit of information that's helped me in my business tremendously. The next thing that I got down there is reminders. So my reminders are also extremely important to me. Calendar is where I need to be, when I need to be. But reminders is what I need to do when it needs to be done by, or where I'm at. So reminders can be location-based, but they can also be time-based. So when you're setting up some of these, reminders, let's say I wanted to create a new reminder. I go down to the bottom and I can add a new reminder. Let's just say test. And if I hit that letter I, you'll see that I can actually apply a date to it. I can apply a time to it. I can apply a location. It might be a repeating event. And I can also have it when I'm messaging. So if I have a reminder for a specific client and that client gives me a message and I'm in messages, it'll actually pop up the reminder while I'm in the messages talking to that person to remind me to talk, whatever that is in the message itself. Can save you a lot of time that way and keep that conversation going really well. You can see you can flag things, add priorities. All of these are really great ways to be able to organize the things that you need to do and when you need to do them and where you need to do them. Now, I will say I rarely add a reminder using text because Siri is actually the best way to add a reminder. Watch this. Remind me to get gas when I leave here. What this means is my phone has now created a geofence around my home. And as soon as I get in the car and I exit that geofence, it's going to pop up the reminder saying to get gas. You might even say something like, remind me to get snake food when I'm at Trader Joe's or Petco, I should say. So the next time you're near Petco, you might have forgotten that you needed to get snake food, but it's going to pop up on your phone, get snake food. And you're like, oh yeah, turn in and I'll go get it. Yeah, it's amazing how many times that has happened to me where I forgot I needed to do something, but because of reminders, I took that exit and I went to the store really quickly. I got it done and then home, and I didn't have to make that separate trip out. That's a time saver. So once again, you can do it going to a location. You can do it coming away from a location. You can do it at a specific time. These are all reminders. Now, one last thing about reminders that I just want to mention there is that you can have different lists in reminders. So for things like, every time I need to, every week I need to take out the garbage. Well, I created a list called future recurring, and all of the things that happen on a recurring basis or will happen in the future, I put in that list so that they don't show up in the generic reminders list that is at the top there. And that's just a way to filter out the stuff that you can't do right now because it's not due yet out of the reminders list so that you can focus better on actually what is in the reminders list that you can do now versus what you know you need to do later. That's just a little helpful trick that I found using reminders that's really helped filter out all of the different stuff here and has really made it a lot easier to choose what I need to do. Everyone know about decision fatigue, right? If you need to make a decision, the first decision is out of 25 choices, it's going to take you significantly longer to get to that first choice than if you had 10. And if you can create these lists right here as an easier way to make that first choice, then that second choice becomes exponentially easier. And again, the point here is we're saving time. We're making things easier to get to, easier to find, and therefore easier to act upon and get done. All right, so going back to my home screen, because again, business in the front, party in the back. So, I'll show you my back there. There's my back. There are all my games. I love chess. I love my Star Trek game. I've become a Trekkie, I guess. But I mean, everything that is not business essential is on my second home screen or even my third home screen. And then if you go to the fourth one, that's called your app library. And that's Apple's version of organizing all your apps It does that automatically with iOS 14. So that's just another way that's automated to have all of your apps in a certain sections based on the type of app they are. But once again, back to the home screen. Banking. If you own a business, you got to be able to bank, and mobile deposits are huge. I tell you, if I couldn't do mobile deposits from my phone, my life would be miserable because I work all by check and sometimes some credit cards, but mostly checks. And having a banking system that you can use on the fly wherever you are is huge. Be able to transfer money, be able to, like I said, deposit checks. So I know some people are very wary of using banking on their phone, but let me tell you, I've been doing it for years and years, and it is way better than it is worse in terms of functionality, ease of use, organization, and efficiency. You'll see the one next to that, that's my Quickbooks. So Quickbooks, I have Quickbooks for self-employed, and I have this specific version because it does 3 things that I needed to do.
It's not showing on the screen. What's showing on the screen is tomorrow, kids, September, then the calendar reminders. So QuickBooks, that's not on the screen. Okay, now there's.
Okay, so it says self-employed. I'm sorry.
Oh,
it's
okay.
the Quickbooks logo, but it says self-employed. That's because the version I use is called Quickbooks Self-Employed. So sorry if that was confusing. It's the green one there that has the Q and the B. So the reason I have this one, and this may not apply to every business for every person, but as a sole entrepreneur who goes to people's homes, this does 3 things for me. And I think these 3 things are important if you need to have them. One is I can do invoicing through this app. So this allows me to actually create and send invoices to anybody that I need. There is nothing more powerful than being at a client's home. You end the session and you say, hey, let me just send you the invoice right now. And you literally within a minute have sent them the invoice. You can see that they received it on their computer. So you know they got it. And then they can choose to pay or not but it's nice to be able to know that when you leave that home, you don't have that on your plate at the end of the day. It's nothing worse than as a sole entrepreneur to go home and know that you have so much more work to do with invoicing and all the other stuff that you do. So this is a great way to be able to invoice right on the fly. I definitely love it. And it does take credit cards, but I put in my little message, I take Apple Cash, I take Venmo, I take PayPal, I take checks, here's my address. And then, oh yeah, by the way, if you want to pay by credit card, you can pay by credit card in the invoice. So that just makes it, again, really easy to make sure that you're going to get paid. That's the thing. We want to get paid. The next thing it does is it tracks my miles. So right now, my phone, every time I leave, it's tracking where I'm going in terms of my mileage. Again, some people might find this a privacy thing. I find this a convenience thing because at the end of the week, I just go through my mileage and say, yep, that was business. And I'm just swiping left or swiping right. Like I was dating the car app, right? Oh, swiping left, that's business. Swiping right, that's personal. Hey, this is personal. So anyway, again, I don't have to manage the mileage. It does it all for me. And at the end of the year, when I can literally just hit one button and it literally just gives me a report on my mileage, it makes doing taxes incredibly easy. And then categorizing transactions. So again, at the end of the year, when it comes to tax time, every day when I come home, I spend about 3 minutes and I just look at the transactions and I say, oh, that was personal, or that was business, or that was personal. And again, it just makes it so easy that it doesn't even feel like I do that. And at the end of the year, when I have to print out my taxes, it's all done for me right through this app. Now, I will say, there are other apps out there. This is not the only one. But again, in terms of business, have a banking app. If you need to track miles, have a mileage tracking app. There are many out there that are free on the App Store that you don't pay for that do just that one thing, and they track your mileage. There are apps out there that will do your finances, like Mint, that don't do other things like tracking your mileage and stuff like that. So take some time and go to the App Store, do a search on mileage tracking, or do a search on invoicing, do a search on, whatever needs you have for your own business. But if you need it, there is an app for that, I guarantee. So that's the self-employed. The next one is Maps. And as I mentioned with Maps, I go to clients' homes. So having Maps is essential to me. And the ability to use Siri to either ask for directions to a certain place, because remember, you can always say, hey, Siri, directions to the Fillmore in San Francisco, and it'll just give you driving directions to that place, or directions to 235 East Francisco Boulevard, and boom, it gives you directions to that place. Directions home, again, is one that I use all the time, so important. And then again, with the calendar, so let's say I'm in the calendar and I needed to, let's go to a different one. So let's say I have an appointment tomorrow with Jeanette. All I got to do is tap on the red button right there, and immediately tells me how long it's going to take. And I can go ahead and I can share that with anybody else if I needed to. I could save it. And if I needed directions, I just tap on the blue button and it tells me the fastest route. It's going to give me a couple different routes. And you'll notice there's car, there's walking, there's mass transit, there's bicycling, and then you can even hail an Uber or a Lyft right from there. So that person's holding their hand up, that will direct you to your Lyft app or to your Uber app. Easy to get around. That's not even for business. That's also for personal. I mean, you can be anywhere in the world and be able to use this and get to where you need to be. So the Maps application is also outstanding. And I use that all the time. I use Maps all the time. And then finally, I have news. And news is just because I like to keep on current events. It's not really a business related thing, but I do put it on the front because I like to stay updated with what's going on in the world. And then, so that's that. The big one then you see there is actually called a smart stack. And the smart stack is swipeable, meaning I can swipe down and you'll see there's photos, there's music, and there's weather, and then there's maps. I think I skipped over that one. Yeah. So there's 4 of them there, and you can actually see it on the side, on the right-hand side of that app. When I swipe, you'll see 4 different dots representing the 4 different apps in that smart stack. So you can have a combination of apps in one button right there, which saves space. And what's really cool about it is depending on the time of day or what your calendar looks like, it will update which app is in front. Meaning in the morning, I always have the weather, because in the morning, it assumes I want to know the weather. But as soon as my day starts, it usually goes to the map, because I'm usually out and about, and then it just defaults, and it's actually going to give you some rich information there as to the next client you're going to go to. So again, it's kind of automating a lot of the stuff that normally you'd have to hit multiple buttons or swipe multiple screens and be able to get to yourself. And I find that really cool. And then, oh, by the way, did you know that this actually makes phone calls? I didn't know it either. It's crazy, but there's actually a phone app, and Lord knows, I mean, if you run a business, you got to make phone calls. So the phone calls is essential. I'm not going to teach you how to use the phone, but what I will say is that contacts button at the bottom there in the center, contacts is the most important hub of information in your digital world. It's everything you know about everyone you know, and it's how we communicate. It's how we get to the people. It's how we message. It's how we email, phone. It's how we know their daughter's name or their assistant's name, their company name. Everything about everyone is in the centerpiece that we call contacts. And it is vital that you take your time, put in the information correctly, and in fact, try to get a picture of someone for the contact. So for instance, if we look at my messages right here, they say, look how I have pictures for everybody. Most people, I should say. When you have a picture of someone, and again, this is all taken from my contacts. When you have a picture of someone and they call, guess what shows up? Their face. So you don't see this generic number. And let me tell you, I got a large client list. And when I see the person's face visually, I say, I remember them. And you know how the conversation starts? Way better than it would if I didn't know who was calling. Oh, hey, Cynthia, how you doing? How's the computer? Did it work? Did what we did? I mean, the conversation just simply starts off in an entirely different way. You usually get that conversation done in half the time because it's not the, oh, hey, who's this? Oh, this is Cynthia. Oh, yeah, Cynthia. Cynthia who? When did I meet with you? So you get my drift. When you got that phone, when you got that photo in the contact card, it makes a huge difference in how you interact with that conversation or that text message or that email address or anything that shows their picture. So if you could take one thing from me today, the contacts list is the most important information on your computer or device, and try to have a photo because it makes it so much more personal. Even if it's a logo of a business that you take off the internet, anything that can spark that, oh yeah, I know who that is, will only help in your communication with that person going forward. So definitely a good one right there. And then going through email, obviously email is essential. If you have your contacts down and you have the right information and you've created great groups, then email shouldn't be any problem at all. And it is the centerpiece for the majority of how most people are communicating today, other than the next one over, which is messages. And messages, I got to tell you, I never wanted to be a texter. I really didn't. I was opposed to it for a long time. But I'll tell you, I do the majority of my business and my bookings and my scheduling now through text. And again, having that photo there is really essential, makes it wonderful. The group texting is also really great. And there have been major improvements in the way that group texting works now on the iPhone, especially with iOS 14, in terms of being able to name the groups, showing the photos, doing inline messaging, meaning you can reply to a certain person with a certain line of text just to you. When you have a group text and you mention someone's name, it actually will refer that text directly to them. So there are a huge number of things that messaging has become really great at, and it definitely is the communication choice for most people now. Just one thing that I have as a pet peeve is if I have to scroll during your text, don't do that. Write an email. Texting should be short and sweet. If I have to scroll, you're not doing it right, in my opinion, and I'm less likely to read your text. But if you put that in an email, I'm going to read the whole thing. No problem. All right, so that's text messaging. Let me go back here, and then the last one I have there is WhatsApp, and that's also a text messaging app. A lot of people use WhatsApp. Same kind of deal as messages. It's just a different platform, and especially if you have people who are overseas in different countries, messages is not the best one to use. WhatsApp is actually probably a better one to use for people in foreign countries. The last thing that I want to talk about here is the home screen, because I mentioned a lot about, oh, hey, business in the front, party in the back. Well, how do you do that? To rearrange an icon, and this is getting back to the basics again, but this is so important. To rearrange icons on your home screen, you're going to press and hold on any of the icons. So I'm going to press and hold on my Quickbooks, wait for it. I'm going to get options as to how to remove, even do functions within the app. The one we're looking at is edit home screen. And when I edit the home screen, you'll see that they all start to get into what I call jiggly mode. So they're all dancing, they're ready to party, and they're ready to move. So at this point, you can move any of these down or up, move them into different positions. You can, what I call the half on, half off, which is where you drag one app to the half of the screen so that it goes to the next screen. That's how you move apps from screen to screen. So let me show you that again. I'm going to take this one. I'm going to move it half on, half off, wait till it scrolls, and then drop it wherever I want on that screen. So that's a really important, because again, a lot of what I've been talking about today is simple organization and how do we find our data? Because if we can find our data, then we can act on our data and we will become way more effective. When I'm done, I want to make sure to hit the done button at the very top right. But if I needed to add another app, you want to hit the plus in the upper left-hand corner, and that's going to allow you to add a new app. And the one thing I wanted to point out there was you have the choice of adding different sizes of apps now. So be aware that you know, just like I kind of have on mine right here, the two most important ones for me are calendar and reminders. That's why they're big, because they are able to show me more information without me not having to even get into the app itself. So I haven't even gotten into the app, but I can see exactly what's happening tomorrow, and I can see exactly what's due today with reminders in the due date, or I should say due today. Last point is the today view. So we've talked about swiping to the left to get to your different home screens and all the way over to the app library. But when we're on our main screen, we can always swipe to the right, and that gets us to what's called the today view. So this is great for business because this allows us to categorize more apps in a single space that might be only directed to, let's say, business. So for instance, you can see I have my weather at the top. I have, again, my reminders. So, you know, think about it. In the morning, you wake up and you want to see what's in your day. I can do one swipe to the right, get to the today view, and I can see what the weather is going to be. I can see what my reminders are. I can get access to all these files that I might need to get to. I see stocks. I see my music. And then I have a Haystack, which is a news program that I like. And then I can get to my QuickBooks Self-Employed. You can edit and arrange all of this by hitting the edit button at the bottom. And this is just like the home screen where you can hit the minus to get rid of the things you don't want. You can drag things around to get to the order that you want. You can click the plus in the top left to add another one. And then when you're done, you hit done. And again, it just provides one swipe of a method to get this organized view of all the apps that you have. And typically you kind of want them big, because it's not that I can't tap into weather and go right to the weather app. I mean, that's easy. That's great. But the point is to have them in a place where you don't even have to tap into the app. You just get the rich information right then and there, and you can then move on with your day. And
How much
with that,
data?
I didn't hear you.
Sorry. How much
No
data
problem.
do you, do you require for your phone, and what do you think's ideal?
I can't really answer that because I've been with AT&T for about 15 years, and I'm grandfathered into the unlimited data. So I have unlimited data. I don't even know what the cost of data is right now, because that's not what I do. I'm not a cellular guy. I deal with everything Apple. You'd have to call your provider, see what's
Okay, how
new.
many gigabytes do you get for your, how many gigabytes do you get into your phone? Like, what do you look for? To
Well, I mean,
do
if
all the apps and
I mean,
run what you do?
if I go to settings, and maybe you want to do this on your phone, if I go to settings and go to general and go to about, so it went again, settings, general, and then about, I can see right here the number of songs, videos, phones, applications. I can see my network, my carrier, and I can see the capacity and the availability. So, I mean, on your phone right now, you can see right here, I have a capacity of 256. I'm actually using, I still have 128 available. So, I mean, in my scenario, I'm using roughly about half of my phone's capacity. I will say, now that streaming is so popular, and that with Apple Music, you don't have to keep music on your phone. You can stream videos and movies, so you don't have to keep them on the phone. You don't even have to keep documents on the phone, because if you have a network connection, you can always download it when you need it. Capacity for phones has actually probably dropped in terms of the need for it, but you can never upgrade an iPhone. So you always need to get something that you know will always be enough for you. And again, that depends on your usage, depends how often you might be away from a network where you could download things. That's about the best I can answer that question.
Great, thank you.
So I want to thank everybody. That's my presentation for today. I'm happy to open it up for some questions. Let me stop the share here for a moment. And so let's see here, how close you have to be to the location for the, okay, let me take that one. So so one of the questions was, how do you add a photo to contact? So let me get back here on the phone and share that for a second. And if you have a Mac computer, I will say it's much easier to do it on the Mac computer than it is on your phone or your iPad. You just have a lot more choices. And with the Mac, with the keyboard and the mouse, the input is going to be easier. You're going to see more screen. So it will be way easier to do it on a computer if you can. And for instance, another thing that you should note, you can't create a group on an iPhone or an iPad. So if you're looking to create a group for people, you can't do that on an iPhone or an iPad. So you need a computer, or you need to go to a web-based application that allows you to create groupings, simply because that's not a feature or a function on your iOS device. So if I go into contacts here, and let's say I chose Andy Hall there, and I go to edit, which is in the upper right, I can go to add photo right there at the very top. So when I add photo, I can either choose an avatar that I want. I can choose his initials. I can click the camera. So when I'm at a client's house and I'm creating their new contact, I say, hey, you know what? Is it okay with you if I just take your photo so I can put it in my contacts so that when you call, I know it's you? And then if that's true, then you do exactly what I did. Go to contacts, create the new contact, click on edit photo, and then you click the camera icon that you see here in the upper left, and then you get the camera, right? And then, ooh, look at that. Look at that. What does that effect there? Woo! Anyway, and then you can take the picture and that will add it into that particular person's contact. So, I mean, maybe I take HA and I put that in there. Now he has assigned a contact. And then, so now you can see that that contact now has his initials in purple. I wouldn't say this is the best way to do it. I'm just showing you an example though.
John, this is Land. I have a few questions. I didn't put it in the chat because I'm not quite sure the right nomenclature. When I want to pause or do a hard shut off or put intermittent shut offs, for shutting off, I use the buttons on the two sides of my iPhone to get the options that you identified. I have the half moon or the crescent moon. And then I have the button on the right side also for pausing. So can you tell me when it's appropriate to use any and all of them?
So the first question, it sounded like there were two different questions in there. The first thing is, there's shutting the phone down, which is the screen that I'm on now. Yes. And again, that's holding the sleep button on one side and it's holding the volume up button on the other side until you see the screen come up, and then swiping to power off. Again, that will power down the device, but it does not quit out of any of the applications. If you're talking about the moon is different. The moon is do not disturb. So the moon that you see there, that purple moon that is on right now, that basically says that your phone will not make any noise and will not notify you about any apps that have notifications. It doesn't mean that you're not going to get your mail. It just means that mail is not actually going to notify you that it just got mail. Is that the question, or am I missing something?
That's very correct, but there's one more. On the right side of the device, there's a button which I can press, which also when I'm putting it to sleep or something like that.
So are you referring to the toggle that's over here that you can go left and right on?
No, on the upper right on the side of the device.
So that's this button right here.
I'm not sure where you're pointing.
It's okay. So there's the volume. Yes. There's the volume up and down with the toggle, which is the mute switch, right? Yes. So when it's orange, it's muted, and when it's not orange, it's not muted. And then you have the volume up and the volume down button. And then on the other side, we call this the sleep or lock button. Yes. And the gist of this is when I tap it once, I've locked the phone. So it's putting it to sleep or locking it. It's not off right now. The phone is still going to use battery. It is still going to be getting notifications. It's still going to be doing all the things that the phone is doing. It's just locked, meaning someone else can't pick up this phone and try to get into it to get to the data.
Got it.
You, as the owner of the phone, can always tap on it, swipe up, get your face in it, or use your Touch ID,
Right.
and that will unlock the phone. So that's why we call it the sleep or the lock button, because it technically puts it to sleep, but it also locks it at the same time.
Good, thank you. Very clear.
John, I hate to interrupt everybody, but I tried setting up captioning. Can you turn on captions? Because we've had a couple requests for people to put their questions in the chat so that more people will be able to see it. Can you turn on captioning in Zoom? Because I did try.
Are you talking to me, Russ?
Yes, yes. Mhm.
Where do I do that?
It would be on the bottom where you see like security, participants, chat, stuff like that. Do you see closed captioning?
I see chat, new share, pause, share, annotate,
Yeah.
apps, and then more.
Yeah. No, yeah. Unfortunately, I don't see it. I'm trying to set up captioning because there's been so
Yeah,
many.
I don't see it here, Russ.
I don't see it on my side either.
Okay.
All right.
Are all the features shown default with the phone or need to download additional apps? Okay, so just for today, the things that I talked about, the only ones you would need to download of everything I talked about today, the only things that you would need to download would be your banking app, like Wells Fargo, and it would be QuickBooks or any other mileage tracker or finance tracker, bill management thing. So let me go ahead and put this in for everyone. Oops. And then all right, so I just put my information in the chat as someone had asked for that. And then do we always software update right away? Okay, well, okay, a great question, really great question. And there is a difference between a software upgrade and a software update. So software updates happen often, and you should definitely do those when they come out. The great thing about Apple is they do vet the software before they release it. So there is way less chance that something's going to go wrong with an update because they're doing minute things like bug fixes and security patches and things that don't really affect the overall, functioning of the phone. So yes, I would do all of your updates when they happen. And the reality is they're probably happening anyway, and you just don't even realize them because Apple just likes to have you on the latest version of all its software. Now there's an upgrade. These happen once a year, and you'll notice because it's going to be iOS 14, and then it's going to be iOS 15, and then it's going to be iOS 16, and these happen once a year. And I would say for the most part for iOS devices, that's not a bad thing. If your phone is actually given the opportunity to upgrade it, that means Apple knows that your hardware will support the new software. And because it's a walled garden, you really don't have you shouldn't really have any fear that something's really going to go bad, other than you might have new features that you're like, what is happening? I don't know why it looks like this, and I don't know why it does this when I do this now. But in reality, it's all probably going to be good for the device and going forward with working with all the other Apple products. I can't say the same thing on your Mac computer. That's a whole nother ball game. Depending on third-party software you have on the Mac computer, you may never want to upgrade that computer. It really just depends on your device, your hardware, the third-party software you're running, and what version you're moving from. I had a question for what phone do you recommend? I really can't answer that question. I'd have to ask you a whole bunch of slew of questions to know what your usage is, what you do with the phone, how old is your current phone, and what do you want to pay? How big do you want the phone? I mean, there are too many questions there, so I can't really give you a lot of great answers on that one. So, well, so Gail, my information is right above where you typed in. It should be to, oh, you know what? I blew it. I'm sorry, I blew it. I did that to a specific person and not to everybody. So let me do that again. All right, sorry about that, team. All right. Here we go. One more time for me. All right, am I getting it, team?
Yes.
All right, good. Thank you. Sorry for my my goof there. Okay, so
I posted one more question.
oh, can Siri translate into other languages? Well, you know what? There is an app that you need to get on your phone, and it's actually called Translate.
It's
And
like, yeah.
this actually, I believe, comes on the phone now. And if you go do a search, type in translate, you'll see that right there. And then this is so cool. I mean, let's say you were in, you wanted to do English, and then you wanted to do it into, let's say, Italian, because I like Italian, right? So I can actually just use the microphone. Where can I get a cheeseburger around here? And then look at that, it just does it.
cheeseburger da queste parti.
Did you even hear it? And then it tells you. It's so cool. Hold on, let's hear it.
Dove posso trovare un cheeseburger da queste parti?
Awesome. And then what's even cooler is if you go sideways, now you can put this down on a table in an Italian restaurant, and you both can just literally go back and forth talking to each other, which is way cool. Way cool.
So can I extend the question a little bit? My daughter lives in Croatia, and sometimes she sends me things. She's learning Croatian pretty well, but she sends me messages in Croatian. So I go to my computer and I can translate and understand a little bit. But can the phone do something similar?
So yeah, if you copy and can just copy what she wrote to you and paste that into the Translate app.
What if someone says it? It's a video.
Then hold up the microphone in the Translate app to the video as it's playing, and it'll translate it for you.
Good. Okay. Thank you.
You can also go to Google and go to Google Translate on the phone and do the same thing, but you're left with the same problem. You're going to have to either talk into it or copy and paste it or type it in. So you're left with the same issue on the phone.
John, is there any app that you can use to take a photo of text and with the photo be able to have it translate or hold your phone up to text?
Not really. No,
Okay.
I think you're talking about OCR, which is the ability to recognize text and then convert it into editable text or some sort of form. I don't know of anything like that. Kenneth, I see your hand up, Kenneth.
I can partly answer that question. There are OCR capabilities in Adobe Acrobat. When you scan things in Adobe Acrobat and you open them up, it can convert it to editable text. So that might be a help. But there's one other function of the iPhone that I would like to point out. And I notice that there's a lot of us who are of a certain age, and that is the health app, especially when you enter to the medical ID part, where you can have all your meds listed, all your conditions listed, so that if you come into a medical emergency, a medical practitioner can press the lock button and one of the on-off buttons and hit medical ID, and they'll be able to see what your condition is right there.
So that's what he's referring to. So the same process, and every medical person knows about this now in terms of firefighters and EMTs. They all know that if they go to power down your phone, they can swipe on this medical ID and basically get to all of the different information that you might need for that particular person,
Right.
including all the allergies, penicillin, everything. So yeah,
Yeah.
great thing to do.
As
for
long
that.
as you enter it into the app.
You do need
Yeah.
to enter it in the
I have a
health app.
very long list of medications, and when I go to a doctor's appointment and they say, well, give me your list of medications or what has changed, I just pull that list up on my iPhone and hand them the phone and say, you type them, because the list is about 16 items long, and it'll never fit on their forms. And so then what they usually do is they take a picture of it and then deal with it from there.
Good
But
info,
that's
Michael.
a
Thank you.
very, very critical part of a very useful part of the iPhone for those of us who are not as young as we used to be.
Good stuff, Michael. Thank you. Well, that concludes what I'm going to be able to do for everyone today. So I know Russ has got some other stuff going on here for the end, some exciting things going on. Russ, why don't you take it back over?
Okay, well,
Bravo, thank you, John.
yay!
Yay. You
Yeah.
were fabulous. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes, excellent, excellent, excellent job. And again, John's contact information is in the chat, so please contact him, because again, he's same person, you know, in a one-on-one as he is on a 35-on-1. So yeah, just it's really, really good. So yay! And like I said, we're gonna have you back next year. We just got to figure out an equally good, enticing topic, because this is like the biggest group we've had in a long time. So that's obviously very good. Yay!
Russ,
Yes.
Russ, I just want to say to all of you here tonight who really enjoyed this presentation, because this really taught things that there was always something what John was talking about that was new to you or to other people. There was a lot of education here tonight. If you enjoyed this, and I heard the woos and all that, get out on media, get on your Facebook, get out and tell people where you were and how much you enjoyed it, so that more Mac people will know about it. We've got phenomenal stuff coming up. We're getting back, which is the first time in years, an actual person talking about a new upcoming Apple, is it a system? Is it the iOS or?
It's the new upcoming Mac OS for next month. Yes.
It's a new Mac OS. We have not been able to get anyone coming and talking about this. This is what we used to do years ago.
Mhm.
Please get it out on Facebook. Don't let your friends who use a Mac lose out on this. There's fantastic learning. You just have to, wherever, I'm cooking dinner while I'm doing this, you know, from the comfort of your own home, even better than when we got together, although that was social. So go ahead and tell people on social media where you were, what you did tonight, and how you enjoyed it. And invite any Mac user to go to our website, which Russ will repeat for us, so we get more people knowing about us and joining us. And because then the nature of questions is richer and the dialogue is richer. So we really want to get the word out to people. And you all are our ambassadors. Thank you.
Along that line, may I ask something? Yes.
You just did.
Okay.
Please.
Because I live in California and I found out about you through John, because I take his classes out here. But
Yeah.
do I join your group in some way, or do I just go to the website? How do I participate?
You can, if you go to the website, you will see a
Here's the
membership
website.
application.
Oh,
And
okay.
we really just, right now, we are not charging because this is not costing us anything. So we formerly used to charge. We can't justify that right now, especially with COVID. So you just join. That way we have your email address. We know how to reach you, and you get on a mailing list, and you know, all of that stuff. There is no charge to our group.
Where
These
is,
are
what is the
no
website?
expenses.
Yeah, what is the website?
What is the
So
website?
please let people know, because this was fantastic.
Oh, gosh.
And a lot more folks should have heard this, because I learned a lot, and I've been using the iPhone for a long time, right, John? Right, Russ?
Yeah.
Yes.
No, Barbara and I have been using the iPhone since it was a landline.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
The website's in the chat, I think.
Right.
Oh.
It's chicagoapple.org. I'm actually the webmaster, so if you have any complaints, you can talk to the webmaster. I know him pretty well. And there's, you know, links to all kinds of stuff up there. And probably over the weekend, I'll start posting stuff for the next month's meeting. But again, chicagoapple.org is the club's website, which again, I'm running. So if you have any concerns or things you want to see or anything like that, that's fine.
Yeah, I'm always telling Russ about, hey, can we do this? Can you make this like, can we change that?
Right.
What
Yeah.
about that?
Well, actually, that's more accurate. We're kind of the web design team. You know, I'll do some of
Yes.
the technical stuff and you'll say, no, this font needs to be bigger or whatever. So
Yeah, we've tried to work on it together. Let me share one simple thing that's so simple that our guest actually didn't speak it. You know that there is an app on, if you have a Mac, there is an app on your Mac that just is called Find My. And you click on it, and if you've registered your phone, you'll say you buy a new phone and you register it with Apple, it's an Apple phone. That app, and you're on your network, that app will find your phone. So it can find it in your house. I know we heard tonight about some other ways to find missing phones, but yesterday that came in so handy for me in a way I never hope none of you ever experienced. And that is early yesterday morning, in a rush to get to work, I actually left my purse with 2 iPhones in it on a CTA bus. I got off the bus, realized what I'd done. I had nothing. I had no way to get home. Luckily, my husband is home. He gets to work later. So I was able, a nice CTA driver on a bus going back to my home let me on without paying. And a nice lady on the bus dialed my home number so I could tell my husband what happened and have him call CTA Lost and Found. Make a long story short, this is going on all day, and we're just, CTA said, call us later at night when all the buses are in and we'll check. And your heart, your stomach is churning all day because my life is in that purse. I got smart. The light bulb went off. Yesterday afternoon at about 5 o'clock, wait a minute, I've got to Find My app. I clicked it on, and sure enough, there was my iPhone traipsing along. I didn't see the bus, traipsing along south on Lakeshore Drive in Michigan, and then coming back Michigan to Lakeshore Drive. And I said, wow, that phone is still on the bus. If someone no person stealing the phone would keep going, this was the bus route. And sure enough, it was on the bus. So I called my husband, and he figured out how to intercept the bus at its end terminal, which he could get to. And he did. He got there, and I notified him. I said, okay, I can see my phone moving, and it's just turning left on the street where it has to go. All you see is a phone moving, nothing else. It's a disembodied phone. Right. Basically, long story short, he got to the bus that had it. The bus driver teased him a little bit and said, yeah, were there 2 phones in that purse? My husband said, yeah, there were. I didn't see them. And then with that, the driver handed him the purse. Everything was intact. Once I could see that my iPhone was simply going back and forth on the route, which I know of that bus, the 146, for those of you Northsiders, I started to relax tremendously because I knew that phone was going to stay there. And at the end of the day, if it got back to terminal, I would get it. Well, my husband made it even easier. But just that's a simple thing. And it just made me so much calmer after hours of being home. I couldn't go out, couldn't go anywhere. I had no keys. My husband went to work. I was sort of really quarantined in my apartment, and seeing that phone and noticing that I can see where it's going.
Barbara, where is your Find My app?
Find
On
My
what device?
is in your applications. It's called Find My.
Yeah, where do you have it installed?
Actually, hey, Michael, you can actually go to any web browser on any computer and go to iCloud.com.
Yeah.
And sign in with your Apple ID.
Right.
And be able to use
I had no app on my phone. It
So it's
just
on your
finds my
computer.
phone. And not only that, the app lets you Find My, which is on your Mac, at least my Mac. I could set controls on the phone, make sure it was locked, and I could put a message on it that couldn't be taken off, I've lost my phone. If you found it, please call me. And you can put a phone number, which was my home number. That way, nobody can use it. It's got password on it. It's protected. Nobody who finds it can do anything. If they take it to an Apple store to say, yeah, my sister gave me a phone, I don't know what to do with it. Jeez. Anybody will see right away, this is a message. This is a lost phone. So nobody taking the phone can do anything with it. It's a real safety feature.
Barbara, the last time your Find My app is on your computer. That
Right, on the computer.
okay?
And
That
it
was the
tracks-
question I had.
And it tracks my iPhone because I registered the phone with Apple and it sees it.
Yeah, yeah. All of the
And
rest of it is
Let me tell
self-evident.
you, the relief was worth everything. So I, so I'm now proselytizing and tell everybody, you gotta have a Mac because things happen. And I don't know of anything like that. Mr. Hartman, is there anything like that on the Android system?
That's all Greek to me. I don't do Android.
Okay, a Greek. I don't know. I've asked a few of my Android friends and they look at me like, what in the heck are you talking about? Anyway, that's one simple thing. And I'm grateful, forever grateful to the Apple system.
Thank you. Goodbye.
We've also had a couple questions about increasing volume. On the Mac, I use an app called Boom 2, and I put a link in the chat for that. So that works for me. And it works really, really well because it can give much, much, much higher volume than my Mac can give. So it works great on a Mac if you need additional volume, and it's super nice. So I like that. Someone is asking, is it a pay app? I don't remember if it's a pay app. I've had it forever, so I don't remember that if it's a pay app or not. And I don't see it here. So it's about time to wrap up. We are doing a giveaway. Is there anything else? Any open question? It looks like Kenneth Wayne Conrad, do you have your hand up? Is that correct?
Well, I've had it up for about 20 minutes or so, I guess. Thank you very much for recognizing me.
Okay.
As a matter of records, I was with before this organization, as it was called. When I was around, it was called TROW. The rest of us, Mac User Group, MUG. And the Mac was plug and play, which is far from the case now. Since this is about business, first of all, I did send you a $20 check to cover my dues, as was asked for. Secondly, I did register online as I thought I was already registered. 3, since you're talking, this is about business, I would like the question of how do you address crooks who seem to be rampant today and have already siphoned thousands of dollars from my bank accounts. And I do believe that Apple Computer Company has a hand in this, if not willingly, but then accidentally. I remember when things were a lot simpler, when we can talk freely with a question and answer. I guess those days are gone, eh?
She's coming back.
Now I'm spending 4 hours a day with Apple Computer Company trying to get my equipment righted after another upgrade. So please, I hope these meetings turn into some kind of a question and answer problem solving thing, rather than just some people, merchants trying to sell their wares.
Okay. Appreciate your comments.
We've done both, Russ, occasionally to help answer that gentleman. We do have presentations because that is what a lot of our members want to hear, such as this evening, educational. We do ask presenters when they come in to really teach people how to use an application. Don't just do a fancy sales pitch to us. And, we talk with the possible presenter beforehand, but we also have had question and answer sessions. So maybe once or twice a year, maybe more. We've had sessions where we would have a topic and we said, come on in. If you have questions or ideas about whatever the topic, we're all going to be talking together and we moderate it, and we've done that before, and we will be doing that again.
Sure.
But right now, we are very grateful that we do have some really special presenters, something we haven't had, having someone coming and telling us and teaching us about the next Mac operating system is just gold for any of us Mac users. However, we can and will address the wish for just a wrap session, a Q&A session. We would, as I said, we would probably specify certain topics.
Yep.
Yes.
So we do need to wrap.
Well, I should hope
Mhm. Go ahead.
these, I'm sorry. Meetings, in the old days, we could pick up the telephone and call our friends and members and ask for help. Now we have Apple support. Are these meetings primarily a cheering section for Apple products?
No. No.
One of the things, and again, I'll just make this really, really quick, that I really, really like about the user group is exactly that. It is not a cheering thing for Apple. It is perfectly fine and okay to say Apple's doing great. It's also fine and okay to say it's not. And there are times when one happens, times when the other happens. This is not the Church of Tim Cook or Steve Jobs or anything like that. We're doing our best to try to provide factual, evidence-based information to help people get the most out of what I think are still amazing products. Far from perfect, many problems, many issues, but we can address those. And like I said, we're working on it. So no, it's not just a pro Apple, cheer Apple, beat up on the competition. It's like I said, we go all around and come to a few meetings and you'll see it. I think it's pretty clear.
Well, I do hope you, Mr. President, that you
I was worried about John, our speaker, and acknowledging his time, and so kind of keeping it to his presentation and just respecting his time. So
Sure.
I don't know, maybe I'm out of line with that.
No, because I'm going to close it up right now with actually something really pretty fun. I contacted a company called BeLight Software, which is somewhere in the former Soviet Union. They agreed to provide us 3 copies of a cool program called Art Text. They just upgraded it a couple weeks ago, and they're allowing us to give away 3 copies of it. So what I'm going to ask you to do is go into the chat, post 3 numbers between 1 and 1,000. John has already picked 3 numbers. I don't know what the numbers are. Barbara doesn't know what the numbers are. The 3 closest will each win a copy of Art Text 4, free. It is an amazing app, and you'll get your information to get the app within about 10-15 minutes. Okay, so we have.
Will this be a way for Russians to hack our computers?
No.
I thought that exactly.
That's what I was thinking.
And you can put up to 3 numbers if you want. Someone just did, or 1 at a time, whatever you want to do. But let's give it like a minute or 2 for people to put 3 numbers in. And I also posted a review of Art Text 4 on the club's website and put a couple emails out about it because it's really phenomenal. If for some reason you don't win it, it's $30. So it's not like it's, hugely expensive, and you can output it to all kinds of stuff, Illustrator, Photoshop, Pages, all kinds of stuff, and do cool stuff with art. And by the way, it doesn't have to be all 3 numbers. If you want to put in like 6 or 11, you can do that too. Which just, I asked John to pick 3 numbers between 1 and 1,000. So he knows what they are. I have no idea. Which is what happens to me a lot. I have no idea.
So Russ, I'm just going to type in my numbers. After everyone's typed in theirs, I'll just type in mine and you'll figure out who has won.
Yeah, and I'm going to do it pretty fast. So let's give everybody about another minute or so. But you've got 3 numbers, correct?
I have 3 numbers ready to go.
Okay.
Oh, they're right here.
Yeah, people
Oh,
are still
right
putting.
here.
Yeah, people are still putting numbers in. So don't do anything yet. Pooh.
Oh, there's some pretty close ones.
Like I said, the closest ones win. The
How
closest-
many guesses do we get?
3. And then I'm screenshotting all the numbers. Okay, there we go, from Betty on down. So I'll actually have a record of it so we can see who did what.
Did you mention, Russ, that you and I do not participate in this?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I don't think I said that. Okay, any more numbers? Anybody want to post? Okay, we did get another person.
Drum roll, please.
Okay, so yeah, I know we're all getting kind of. Okay, any other numbers? Okay, sound effects.
Drum roll, please.
Okay. All right. Let me screenshot the last thing, and then go ahead and John.
Let it be me.
All right. Are we ready? Russ?
We are ready, Russ.
All right. Someone nailed the first number. Bang!
Which was
25. So that was Kanitha. The next one
okay.
was the devil's number. But you know why I chose that? Because that was the price of the first Apple One computer.
That's true.
Oh, wow.
Significance there. It was actually $660.66. And Wozniak said it was just easy to type. And then the last one, if you're in an emergency, there you go, team.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Okay, so if you are a winner, and I'll figure that out in a second, you can also send a note to me. I just put my email address, which is just russconti@mac.com.
Right.
Although I have wanted to get an email address of don't send me any of your crap at gmail.com, but I don't.
Oh, stop. Come on. Russ, let's also ask if when the winner, we notify the winner to let, or they send us, if they're in there, when they send us back their, their numbers, that we have permission to post their names
Oh,
on the website, to say congratulations to the winners of whatever the software was. Nothing else, but many places do that. They post the name of winners, and it's kind of nice for others to see, oh, real people actually get something.
that's a good point. Yeah. So his numbers are 25, 666, and I love that, and 911, 911. So like I said, I'm going to stay on. So it's going to take me like a couple minutes just to figure this out. But I do have the access codes for this. BeLight already sent it to me. So you should be able to download it tonight or tomorrow, apply the access code, and ArtText4 is yours for
And
free.
they're almost ready, dear. Almost. I mean it.
Well, I would like to thank everyone for listening to me for so long. I hope you all learned something. Feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions or issues. Like I said, my information's in the chat, and it was really fun. Russ, Barbara, thank you again. I appreciate it. You guys are great, and I look to stay in touch.
Okay, yeah, enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Cool.
John.
Signing out. Take care, team.
Yep. If you're still here, I'm actually figuring out who the winners are. So I'm doing, probably no surprise, I'm doing this in an Excel spreadsheet.
Get out of your ear.
Oh, you're not, you're not. That's right. Did you enjoy that? It was a good meeting. I thought, I mean, there's nice things to talk about.
Cinco. It's iPad. Also did. Add one more number. Was share this to go.
If you have it organized,
Those. There's the outro. Let's go. There's by Cinco. Winners were match 2, 25. Minus 25. Okay, I'll have it in about a minute. Okay. So Kanitha wins that one. I'm sorry, Kanitha wins that one. Sorry, do that right. What's the closest there? It's that one. Oh, that's way off from the third one. Huh. Okay. We still have people on? We do. We still have 11 people on. Huh. This is cool. I like this. Let me double check that this is correct, that the math is right. Yes, it is. Okay. Can everybody hear me? Yes.
Yes.
Okay. We already know the winner for the first one is Kanitha, because that's exactly straight on. The closest for the second number was within 52. Everybody else was off by more than 90, is Lori. And the closest on the third number, everybody was way off, but the closest was off by 134. So the winner of that one is Mary's iPad. So I will contact you, although Alexa, if you want to send me a quick email, I will get you that information right away. So thank you to everybody. But like I said, I think you're going to love Art Text 4. It's a phenomenal program. And like I said, I'll get this out to everybody in just to the 3 winners in just a minute. So thank you, everybody. I enjoyed it. Had a lot of fun. And I think this is a really cool, presentation and stuff. And I will get this posted to YouTube over the weekend, because we do have a YouTube channel and we need to start putting more good stuff on it. So that's what I got. So there we go.
Thank you, Chicago.
Hey, yeah, thank you all. Thank the whole, we got people from all over the place, actually. And so, yeah, I'm going to work on captioning for the next meeting, because I think we can do that, as well as setting up a more like an open Q&A session, because I've set those up periodically and we can devote a lot more time to that. So cool. So again, thank you, everybody. And we'll be in touch, and otherwise we'll see you at next month's meeting. Why isn't it doing it?